We provide services for you through your EAP, and it used to be Aetna, but no longer. But we still provide the benefits, a handful of different benefits. We're a not-for-profit credit counseling agency based out of Lighthouse Point, which is on the other coast near Pompano. Hi. And there's a chair here if you need one. Stuff up here. We've been around since 2000. We have a great rating with DVB, and we've been providing services for you folks about a year and a half, Lisa, a year and a half, have been about or so. The flyers that you have in your folders, I don't want to spend too much time on it because I want to make it an educational seminar, so I'm not selling anything. But let me look over your shoulder while I do this. All of the benefits that we provide for the EAP are great for you folks as well as friends and family members. So even if you're doing great, but maybe you know someone that needs any help, we're true not-for-profit. You'll never see us advertise on TV because we can't afford to. Honestly, we're not a for-profit organization. And when you see them advertise on TV, you gotta really think twice about where they're getting their money from and how they do it. But so we reach out, we're a HUD agency, and what that means is that we're a HUD-approved agency from the federal government, so we can do things like reverse mortgages, foreclosure, loss mitigation, things so people don't lose their homes. And a lot of those programs that we provide are free. So if someone's gonna go into they're behind in their mortgage and they can't make their payments and we have to do some HUD stuff, paperwork for them, we provide that service for free, which is kind of cool. And we'll get you hooked up with your lender so you can try and stay in your homes with the different government programs. But real quick, free services, and I'll get to your answer real quick. When we look at the free services, budget counseling, student loan counseling, anybody needs any help putting a budget together, even when they get through listening to me today, I'm sure they'll need help. I mean that in a positive sense. The counselors, when they get a hold of you at the office, they really will spend a whole lot of time putting a budget together with you to make things work. They do it as a free service. So even if the finance, you think you're doing okay and so forth, you just want to brush up on some things, give them a call. Just tell them you're part of the EAP and they'll spend whatever time it takes. Student loan counseling. A lot of folks have student loans and they scratching their head, how much do I owe you, what's my interest rate, what kind of government programs are out there for me and so forth. They do the counseling telephonically for free. So they'll go over everything that they've got and explain to you the different programs and stuff that are available for you. And if you're great at taking notes, then just take the notes and everything that they give you. If you want something in writing form, if you go into discounted services, a written assessment, because you're coming into the EAP, they charge you $39. And if you want us to put the paperwork together for any governmental programs to reduce interest rates and do things like that for you, and then that one there is $119. You can see we're charging millions of dollars for our services. So, but the counseling is free. If you just want to write stuff down as they go on the phone with you and they can give you direction on how you can do things on your own, utilize the free service. It's kind of good as far as that goes. I'm sorry, I keep putting your paper from you.
No, you're fine.
First-time home buyer assistance. People looking to get a first-time home buyers and so forth. That's part of our HUD stuff. And you're more than welcome to get some counseling as far as that goes. Educational videos. That's the latest thing right now. Everybody wants videos. Nobody wants to read. I don't want to read. My eyeballs hurt. I have to drive all the time. So I love videos. So we've got a bunch of 3.5-4-minute videos on our site. Credit scores, credit reports, budgeting, debt management programs, student loan counseling. Just go there, click on the videos, and it's a great way to get brushed up on the different things that are going on. We also have a financial literacy course, which is good. We use it in a lot of school systems. I don't know if anybody in Pasco is using it, but St. Lucie County, there's a St. Lucie Centennial over there uses that online financial literacy program for their students before they graduate. And it's 15 modules, it's computer-based, it's Moodle-based, which I guess a lot of the school systems use Moodle programs and so forth. And if you wanted to use them here in a school, we can give you administrative rights. So teachers can just implement them in the classroom. They can see how the students are doing, where their grades are, what modules they're taking. It's 15 modules. At the end of the 15 modules, after each module, there's questions. They go through, they get the answer, get a 70% better, they move on to the next module. When they get done, they can type out a certificate of completion, which is kind of great for the students, or great if you're just a consumer and you want to take that completion certificate and give it to your credit bureau and put it down in your comments section that you took an online financial literacy course. again, that's free. So just feel free to jump on, give yourself a username and password and so forth and make it work. There's calculators, all kinds of good stuff on there too. Credit score analysis. This is kind of cool. We have the same models that the credit bureaus use to calculate credit scores. So let's say you wanted to go get that new car at a 0% finance rate, and you know that the 0% is going to be like a 705 or better credit score. Maybe your credit score is a 650, 675 or something like that, and you want to bump your credit score up. Our counselors will pull your credit report and your scores with you. It doesn't hurt you. It's not a bump on your credit when we do it because we're letting you pull the credit. But what we're able to do is to run through the calculator as to what we can do to improve your score. So if we take a look at this, the chart, and it turns around and says you might have maybe a little high on credit card debt and so forth, we might say to you, take $500 and put it towards this credit card, and immediately we can hit recalculate, and it tells us what the score goes to. So if you want to go get a great deal on a home loan or 0% on a car loan, it might be worth to spend the $39 and go get that credit score analysis done before you're going to go buy the car in 4 to 5 months. So when you get there, there's no problems. You know you can qualify for it as opposed to getting a surprise when you get there. So that's kind of a cool tool. The identity protection, which is a question you asked 20 minutes ago. Sorry to be so long-winded, but it's kind of like a LifeLock situation. It's the same type of thing. If you want to join that thing, it's $12.50 a month for that service, and it's a good way to protect your stuff. I talk to people on identity theft about also doing a credit freeze on their credit reports. I don't know if you guys know how to do that, but you can actually freeze your credit. You can freeze your credit bureaus by going to the credit bureaus themselves. TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian are your 3 credit bureaus. I know we're kind of deviating off of what I'm going to be talking about, but real just quick. If you go to their websites and you type in credit freeze, you can freeze your credit for $10 in the state of Florida per credit bureau. In other states, they have different fees, you know, for what they charge, but in the state of Florida regulates that. You can freeze your credit for $10. And when you freeze your credit, what they're going to do is they're going to give you a PIN number. And the PIN number will be utilized whenever you want to apply for new credit. So the good news is if I reach in and grab your driver's license and social security card and I get your information, I want to go apply for credit in your name, credit bureaus don't know that. But what they're going to say to me is when I get to that stage of them approving, it's going to say this credit bureau is locked. What's your PIN number? Well, if I don't have it, she's protected, and they move on to the next victim. Okay, so it's $10. It's not $10 a month. It's $10, and it locks them up. $10 per bureau, and it's good forever. And when you want to unlock them, like for example, if you want to go to the car dealership and get a car loan and do something like that, and you want to unlock them, you go on the credit bureau. And you put in your PIN number and pay them the $10 and they unfreeze it. So the credit manager at the car dealership can pull your credit in order to give you a car loan. Never give anybody your PIN number, and don't lose your PIN number. So that can kind of stick if you do that.
And so when you want to unlock it, you go on the credit bureau and what did you say?
You pay them $10 and they will unfreeze it. So let's say you go to the Ford dealer up the street, you want to buy something, and the credit guy says, yeah, we're going to pull your credit. Say to them, which bureau are you going to use? You might say we use the Experian credit bureaus to check your credit. So you would go online with your computer, pay the $10, unfreeze your credit, put your PIN number, unfreeze your credit. Then he can go in and access and see your credit in order to give you the loan. Once he gets done, go back on, pay $10, lock it back up. Okay? So you're only paying the $10 when you're doing something on credit. But if you don't do anything for 4 or 5 years and you don't apply for any new credit, it's never going to you never have to unlock it. So the good news is there's so much stuff going on the internet. Like I was a very fortunate person to go shopping on the Friday after Thanksgiving last year, and I just happened to stop at a Target store. I'd been in a Target store in 10 years, but just happened to go that day, and my credit card got nailed. So it was no problem because I have a freeze on my credit, so I wasn't worried about anything. They just gave me a new credit card with a new number. But that might be an alternative to Safe ID lock. Safe ID does monitoring on your reports and that stuff all the time, but a good way without having to spend a lot of money is to spend the $10 per bureau and lock it up. Do it for yourself, do it for your spouses, do it for your parents or grandparents, and do it for your kids. I go to these seminars, I do high school kids, and they come up and talk to me afterwards and say, I'm 17, 18, I just pulled my credit, and I got $30,000 in credit card debt. That's because a relative or somebody pulled their social security when they were 10 years old and opened up credit in their name.
Oh my God.
So we're wise, maybe just consider locking them up. Okay.
Would that stuff pre-screen offers too?
And any of the pre-screen, well, the pre-screens, it doesn't hurt the pre-screen. The pre-screens you're gonna get until you sign the paperwork and send it in for them to actually go through and do a process. You know, you really get the pre-screen, you know about pre-screen credit card offers.
Isn't that what
and then
people
pre-approved.
steal to get your identity?
Yeah, they
and
do,
your
but when they
balance?
go to apply,
Yeah,
when they go to apply, the first thing when they go to pull the credit bureau, they're gonna say, okay, what's your PIN number? So you
It
can't
won't
do anything
stop
without
them.
PIN number. It's not gonna stop the pre-screens, you know? And the pre-screens, they just buy those by the credit bureaus. They buy mailing lists. Everybody in your zip code with a score between 600 to 700, they pay 3 cents a name for a mailing list and just blast all this stuff out. Not necessarily, they say you're pre-approved. Well, you're not pre-approved until you sign and send the stuff in. Everybody's pre-approved until they pull their credit, and then all of a sudden you didn't get pre-approved, you know? It's kind of weird stuff, so. It doesn't stop that. Debt management plans, that's what we do by getting people out of debt. That's where we make our living. We talk to all of your creditors if you have a lot of credit card debt. And we talk to the creditors, and basically what we do is we beat them up on the interest rates, and we get rid of late fees and over the limit fees and all that stuff. So when you make a payment, a majority of it is going towards principal. We're not reducing your debt. We're not doing a bankruptcy, we're not doing a settlement that destroys your credit, we're doing a debt management plan. We're getting you out of debt as soon as possible, paying as little interest as possible, okay? We normally have a 39, what does that say? We normally have a $50 fee to get people involved in the DMP, but coming into the EAP, we waive it. So it costs you doesn't cost you anything to get on. The only thing it costs you is when we disperse your money every month. If we get you paid off in 6 months, we're regulated by the states as to what we charge. I think Florida's $39 a month. So we get you paid off in 6 months, it's $39 times 6 months. Georgia, I think it's $20, California's like $50, so we're regulated by the state. But it's a good way to get out of debt and get rid of a lot of interest and all the limit fees and late fees without destroying your credit, because we're still paying the principal off, okay? So that's something to consider. Payday loan deferments, I can't believe this area when I come and visit. What's with this Amscott place here? It's like when I watch TV, it's like every third ad, Amscott this, Amscott saved my life, got a kid building a model house out of Amscott. I mean, this is probably one of the worst counties with payday loan companies. And a lot of people, if you know people that get into payday loans, you know that you're about 400% APR, right? You know that when you're getting $200 a month and it costs you $20 to get that 200, you know, it's 10%, you know, that's 10% of the money, and multiply that times 52 weeks, I mean, the interest rate is phenomenal. We are approved through Department of Insurance and Regulation in Florida as a true not-for-profit credit counseling agency to get people out of payday loans. We don't give them payday loans, we get them out of payday loans. And what does that mean? Anybody that comes in and cannot make their payments, if they let us know, first thing we do is contact the creditor, cease and desist on fees and interest rates. Okay? We give them a budget counseling session, figure out what they can afford, contact the creditor and say you're gonna get $20 a month for the next 6 months and you're out. And they 9 times out of 10 take it because they're making so much in interest, they just want their principal back. So we're approved by insurance and regulation to do that. So if you know anybody that's wrapped up in any of that stuff, we do the deferments. I mean, we do them all the time, just get them out of them. It's just because I see these ads all over the place with this stuff, it gets kind of crazy. And the student loan stuff you see there, we have home buyer courses, if anybody wants them, and we also do reverse mortgage counseling. I'm a reverse mortgage counselor. And before you can get those crazy ads, you see all the old guys advertising on TV to help you with get your money out of your house. You probably want to talk to me first, and then what we do is we have to, by law, give you a counseling session, which we have to charge for through HUD. And then we give you a certificate of completion when you're done. You cannot get the reverse mortgage until you have that certificate of completion and you give it to your lender. I mean, I think this should be done on home buying too, not just reverse mortgages, but any home buying, because you want to know what you're getting into. So we do that as well, and also we are approved by the federal government to do bankruptcy counseling. Before you can discharge a bankruptcy, you have to go through a pre and post discharge course to make sure you understand what you're doing when you get rid of it and what you're going to do when you get out of bankruptcy, how to fix your stuff. So we offer those online courses and certificates as well. So how do we do, all right? Any questions? It's good stuff, and the neat part is it's great for friends and family members as well. So if you're doing great but you just want to utilize that stuff, you know, grab it. Okay, So we're gonna do, we're gonna do the budgeting course first. And I'm gonna take Mr. Mouse over here with me and see how this thing works out. All right, look at that. Why budget? Well, that's an interesting question, why budget? Who in this room does budgeting? Anybody? Everybody budget? Everybody write things down, actually write things down? You do? You do a good job at it?
Well, I'm here. Yeah, it looks good on paper.
Okay.
But,
So do you fulfill the role of managing the paper and actually making the numbers work, or?
you're talking personally, right? At home or here?
Or, yeah, whatever, everything.
Well, yeah, I do it
What do you
both
mean here
places.
versus home?
At work.
Oh,
Well, because
oh,
I'm in,
okay.
I'm in accounting here,
Oh.
but at home,
Double
yes,
jeopardy,
yeah,
okay.
exactly.
So if you can't make it at home, I'm surprised they keep you here. Okay,
Can't excel in both areas.
Right, exactly, yeah. But yeah, I do a budget at home,
Okay.
and it's just sticking to the budget that becomes the problem.
And what's the problem? Is it you, are you the problem, or is it somebody else the problem? I mean, why do we veer off the budget just because you didn't figure out the budgeting numbers right beforehand?
Unexpected things come
Okay.
up. Things that are more fun to do than following the budget come up.
Okay, so
I don't want you to lose
that's
your
half
job.
you, right? That's half you
It is,
there,
it's-
okay,
yeah,
good.
it is.
But see, the honesty is important. That's how you make it work, you know, you gotta do it. A lot of people don't know why to do a budget, they say, well, I think I have to do a budget, I don't know, everybody works as I have to and so forth. But it'd be nice if you could know what you end up at the end of the month with, and where it's going. And that's probably the key with budgeting. You know, we try to make budgeting fun, and I know it's kind of tough to say that, but if you can make budgeting fun and actually get your family involved, if you get kids and get the kids involved and say, look, this is all we have, and we're gonna go shopping. You know, I know you want these crazy snacks, all you're gonna get is $20, so you have to make some decisions now what you want. If you get people involved in like that, then it's more of a group effort. It's more fun, as opposed to being the only person at home that's saying, nope, you can't have this, and nope, you can't have that. You know, you feel like a dictator, it doesn't work out all that
Kids are
well.
easy.
You know,
Kids are easy.
yeah, I mean,
Husbands are the ones that are wrong.
it's not easy, you know? So, you really need to know where the money goes. So who tracks their expenses? You do. Two, okay, you track them. You actually write things down, so what, that's good. You don't, you do.
I write it in my checkbook.
You're writing down just the ones that are important, not the fun things. You're only-
Pretty much.
Okay. We know where you're at, that's good, that's okay. We gave you out, did everybody get one of these little handbooks? We didn't, okay. Well, these are kind of cool, and the reason I'm gonna give them, I'll just pass a bunch down each way. On the back of these handbooks, we have an interactive CD. See, you thought I was gonna be unprepared today, didn't you? But I came prepared. Interactive CDs, feel free to take them, put them in the computers. Everybody, can I back everybody?
Is it Mac and
Do
PC?
you have a budget template on it?
Yeah, there's all kinds of wonderful stuff in there for you. This is what you're gonna go do when you go home. You can actually put your budgets, you can put your numbers in, and you can just change the numbers and so forth. It's just a great tool to use. We actually use that exact same tool with the folks that go through bankruptcies and so forth to teach them how to budget. But I don't wanna dwell on that. That's something that you can slide in the computer when you get home and play with. In there, did you give some of these out, please? You did, okay. I'm gonna give these flyers out, and this is something that you can read on the flyers. Don't read them now, but you can read them when you get home. But particularly where I'm sending you to is the back page on that. And we're gonna get to this too, but see that expense tracker form on the back page? Just take this right to the front and flip it right to the back. You got it right there. Excellent. And when you take a look at the expense tracker form, those are actually great because that is 1 week. Lisa, I'll take that. That is 1 week. Well done, I may never come back. Weekly tracker forms. It would be good for you to take these, make 4 copies of them, and go 4 weeks, and then really be honest and take a pencil with you, put in your pocket, fold it up. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, and actually write things down. And don't say, I go to Starbucks, but I'm not gonna write that down, because it's only
Right.
$3, because it's $3 times 7 days a week is $21 times 52 weeks a year, there's $1,000 that you could have bought me a gift with, but you didn't. So, those are really important, those are really good, they're good to have with the kids. We use these handouts to a lot of the high school students and so forth, and it really is something great to use. So, when we talk about tracking your expenses, we gotta start to write things down. That's really important things. Needs versus wants, does everybody know that? Need versus wants, I need a new car, I want a new Mercedes. I don't know if the Mercedes is gonna fit in the budget, although we might look better in a Mercedes, we might have to settle for the Hyundai, might have to settle for the Ford and so forth. I need new clothes, I want designer brands, maybe a yard sale will help me offset and I can do a Marshall's purchase. Or I can still get some designer brands, but I'm not paying a Macy's or a penny price. I want a new iPhone, anybody get a new iPhone 6? Really?
Well,
Did
it's
you-
on
did you-
order. It
Did you wait in
hasn't-
line like for, did we see you in line waiting like 2 days and camping out to get one? or-
No, it's on order and won't be here, shipped till December.
I
Okay.
got
They're
What
on-
what
they're
kind of phone
on-
do you have now?
5S,
Is anything wrong with it?
no.
Oh. And you get the new 6 for free, right?
No,
Was that?
no,
No?
no.
And you're in a budgeting class, I'm just trying to figure out what the money was, is that what you're saying? You understand what we're going through? I mean, what does the 6 do that the 5S doesn't do?
It's bigger.
Besides bend in your pocket when you put it in?
Big,
Well,
yeah.
it's bigger, has a better camera.
Oh, so it's a
I want
weight
one too.
distribution thing or something like that, okay. I knew there was some logical reason behind it, but you see what I'm saying? If you're budgeting and money's tight, do we need that? I mean, you don't wanna know, I'm still on a 4S, okay? And I have no need to go to a 5S, I have no need, if AT&T wants me to give me a free one, or one for 99 cents when I renew, that's how it's happening, because Jason ain't spending the money for it. I don't do anything out of the ordinary with it. I mean, I don't think, every time I get this upgrade, it says to upgrade to 4, 5, and 6. I haven't seen a whole lot. So all I'm saying is, I'm not telling you folks not to do anything. I'm not telling you to do or not to do, but I am saying think about the consequences of doing it if you're in a situation where you need to balance a checkbook and balance the money. Is it really important, or is it a status symbol? What are we trying to do when we do it? And that's where we talk about needs and wants. I know I always grab something like this last book, 5 and 6 stuff and so forth. The tracker form, you already got that, so we won't go on that. But what we want to do is we always need to do stuff that, so we can figure out our income. And we need to write everything down. And when we write everything down, we're going to use things that are key, such as net income, okay? We're not gonna rewrite down gross income. Gross income is what you tell everybody when you're at a party, how much money you make. Yeah, well, I make $50,000. Well, great, good for you. When it comes to budget time, you don't use 50,000, right? We use net income. We're gonna use real dollars, what actually goes home in the pocket, you know? When I do this class with students, I always say there's 2 kinds of dollars in this country. And they start scratching their head, what do you mean? There's only one kind. I go, no, there's 2 kinds. There's the gazintas and the gazadas. Okay? You have money that goes into your pocket, and you have money that goes out of your pocket. And when you have more gazadas than gazintas, you have a US government, basically. You have a deficiency. I mean, that's what we have. So the key is to sit back and make sure that you're using true numbers. If you're using, gross incomes and things like that, it's just not gonna work. Okay? And the second step, list your expenses. Don't cheat. If you cheat, you're only hurting yourself, and we heard that in school all the time. You need to write down all of your expenses. I don't want you to just, well, that's not important, I'm not gonna write it down. And that prime example was the Starbucks coffee, because when we're trying to find some money, which we're going to do in the next session with the debt elimination program, that's just gonna be kind of important. So you need to find it as best you can and so forth. How about this? Consider your savings as a monthly bill. You ever done that? How about considering savings? So in other words, you can't turn around and say, well, I can't put money in savings because I don't have any. Forget it. That's equivalent to a credit card payment. And if you've been putting in $50 a month in savings, you're gonna put the $50 in savings. You're gonna go find it someplace else. You're not gonna go out to eat. You're not gonna do something, but you're not going to give that up. So consider savings as a bill. and make consistent payments. It is an asset, I mean, it is gonna be money you're gonna end up with, but it's still considered an expense because you're putting that money out and you don't have access to it. That is a good way of doing it, if you just make it part of the, part of the record, you do it. How many people have car payments right now? Okay, how many more, anybody have like 6 months left on a car payment, they're gonna be done? Or you guys got all brand new stuff here, all brand new shiny stuff, good. What you try and do with a car payment is when you get done making the car payment, what are you gonna do with that money?
Put it in the bag.
Besides go buy a new car, you're not gonna go buy a new car, you're gonna make this car last for a little bit. But when you stop paying that 3, 4, or whatever a month you're paying on that car payment, why not automatically, if you know it's gonna happen in 2 months, get a hold of payroll and have that automatic deduction go $400 into your savings? You were spending it anyway. It was going out the door, you weren't planning on it. The problem is that 1 month when you have it, you're done. You'll never be able to do it. The same way you never wanna have cash in your pocket on a Friday when you cash your paycheck. You want that stuff away from you so you can't get a hold of it. Cause some of us have some things that we jump into that we just all of a sudden needed to do on Friday or Saturday, and there goes the budget, okay? So, I think that's kind of important. When you start to look at your housing expenses, you really wanna make sure you're including everything, your taxes, your insurance, anything that you have money you have put away, if it's a monthly rental payment, whatever. You also want to take a look at your utility services, and utility services can be great, but they can be a problem too, because you only budgeted X amount of dollars a month, but in the summertime, the AC's on and it's up here, so if you want a lot of the FP&L where we are on the other coast, and I'm sure Tico probably has it over here, they probably have a monthly program that they figure out what your year, they do,
Yes.
year usage is, and then they're gonna turn around and just average that out so you can make the same payments every month. Consider that.
That works.
And then once you get that done, then consider what you're doing for energy savings in the house. Who has programmable thermostats in their home?
Yeah.
You do, you do. How many people have timers on their water heaters? Timers in your water heater. Water heaters is one of the most expensive appliances you can have in the house. It's 220 volts and it uses a lot of power. So today you're at school right now, you're doing stuff at school, your water heater's on. Why? I don't know, there's nobody home. So if you put timers on them, you can put timers on, so it will just turn a timer on maybe at 4 in the morning, from 4 to 5 for 1 hour, so when you get the shower, you get nice hot water, depending on how many people you have. And then at night, if you, whatever you do at night, dishes and so forth, maybe it goes on from 6 to 7. And you can program so it's only on 2 hours a day versus going on 24 hours a day. Because as soon as that temperature drops, that water heater, it heats it back up. Well, if there's nobody home using it, what are you doing it for? Okay, so maybe you look into that between the monthly budgeting and also some different programs you can do. Lisa and I were just online over at Tico before the class started. Did you know all the rebate programs that are available? Like if you have a house that's kind of older, you can do the things with the insulation. They're gonna give you money to insulate the ceiling of your house. It might cost you a few dollars, but they give you like a $200 in cash to apply towards it. If that reduces your electric bill and your AC usage, that's considerable. If you're considering doing windows in a house too, they've got rebate programs that if you use them and install them through contractors they recommend, they give you X amount of percentage rebate. So if you're thinking of staying in a home and doing things like that, all those things can add up to bring down your monthly costs in the home, which is kind of important. And the other thing is air conditioning units. I think we saw a $400 rebate for a 14-SEER unit. I mean, why not? I'm not saying just go get a new AC unit like a new iPhone because I think I need it, but when it's time that something needs to be done, look into something like that and make it worthwhile.
And the tankless water heaters too.
I'm sorry?
Tankless water heaters too. You gotta be careful which ones you get because certain ones do not actually work out any better than others.
Really?
Mhm.
Cool. So you learn.
I worked at a plumbing and AC company, so.
Oh, okay. Good, so we got any plumbing questions, we're all gonna just email you and that's.
Sure.
Cool.
All the color.
I mean, all that stuff adds up. When you're trying to do a budget, $20 a month, $30 a month, $40 a month adds up. Transportation, your loan payments, insurance, expenses, those are all real important things. Anybody carpool here? Nope, nobody carpools. How many people live near somebody that they know that goes to school? Anybody? You do? So why, you don't carpool? Just like your own car?
They don't come in at the same time.
Okay. All right, that can be tough. Do you have any public transportation in this county? They don't.
Limited.
To the mall.
Very limited.
Yeah, not to here.
Just on 54.
So you guys can't just jump on the school bus and they'll drop you off at school in the morning with the kids and then go back home? That'd be kinda cool, wouldn't it? You can do that?
No.
No, wouldn't be. Good answer.
Maybe get rid of the bus aids though.
They're looking at having 9 to 12% of the budget on that, and it's funny when I do budgeting with high school students, and we start talking about putting a budget together, and I tell them they're making $10 an hour, they go, yeah, that's great, $10 an hour, I can't wait to move out of the house. And then by the time I get done with them, and they tell me the kind of cars that they want, I tell them that they should be buying like a conversion van Ford or something like that, because by the time they get with transportation, not gonna be able to pay for a room, and might as well live in the van. You know, buy like an old Ford Country Squire wagon or something like that and move into it, so. Transportation costs have gone absolutely crazy, and you really, really have to pay attention to A, what you're paying for the car, and B, the interest that you're paying on it. Your family and personal expenses, those can be hectic. Because if you have a big family and lots of kids, the bills could be, if you're single, might be easier to maintain. But, you know, this is the latest thing that we're worried about here is child and or elderly care. A lot of elderly folks are moving back in now with the families, which you didn't see like, 5-10 years ago. And because they can't afford. And the kids don't want them to be alone or so forth like that. So if something happens and someone gets incapacitated and so forth, you're taking care of them, that can really be tough on a budget. But hopefully there's some governmental monies or something that's helping you to get through that. Living expenses are really can get expensive. But again, we're looking at about 27 to 35% of the budget there. I don't know what you can really do about food except there's some people I meet that are really kind of cool. They get the little 3x5 index cards. Have you ever seen those with a little door on top? It's plastic, and you can put your index cards. It's all alphabetical. And these people grab the Sunday papers and grab coupons out of these things, and they put all the coupons in these categories in this, alphabetically. So when they go food shopping, they either bring the box with them, or if they know what their list is going to be before they go, they can pull the coupons alphabetically out of there and utilize them. And then if you get some of the stores, like your Publix, they double the coupons on certain days. So if you're buying something, it doesn't mean you buy 4 times as much stuff. It just means take the discount that you can and make the budget work, from that perspective. I don't know if you need like a 62 pack of toilet paper at Sam's Club when you're by yourself. You have toilet paper there for, another 10 years. So why tie your money up in toilet paper, you know what I mean? So, I know. This one is always a big one because it's almost never this amount. I just see some heads already ducking down inside the room. It's never the 4 to 6%, but there's nothing wrong with dining out. And you should be able to dine out, but maybe you want to go through Groupon. You ever seen Groupon? Yeah. And you can get yourself some discount coupons and so forth. There used to be the entertainment book. You guys have the entertainment book on this coast too? Mm-hmm. It's a big thick book you can buy in January, and it gets you like half off and so forth. I think it's like $50 or $60 for the book, or is it more than that?
It's about that price. And then there's also some other ones, like some schools to do for local areas and stuff like that, that's like about $20. That's kind of like it, but it's a little bit smaller.
It's a good way to do it if you utilize the book. Because if you're gonna go out and say, okay, we're strictly going to keep our budget, but we're gonna utilize this budget and book to buy all of our stuff and so forth, it can be really worthwhile. So something to pay attention. Lottery tickets, any lottery ticket buyers? How much you spend a week on lottery tickets, just like you?
Oh, I buy like maybe one a month.
Oh, one a month, okay,
Yeah,
that's not
much.
bad, okay.
When
You ever been in line when these people get these beautiful plastic folders with all their cards in there? And it's like, I'm saying to myself, my God, how to get that so organized, just, with these cards that they do for the lottery, but they spend a ton of money, That can be a big bite, so that's something to be really, really careful with. Cigarettes, I think it's $7 a pack now, 6 for the brand names, like your Marlboros, $6 a pack or so forth. I mean, think about that, it's a pack a day, $5 a day, $35, there's a lot of money going out just on cigarettes. And I'm not telling you to stop. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm saying that there's ways that, things can get out of hand with some of the habits that may not be the best habits for you. So the 4 to 6%, that one is really tough to maintain on recreation because people like to go out, they like to celebrate, they don't want to cook, they want to go do stuff, so that's kind of important. Obligations, what is this one? Credit card payments, student loan payments. You know that if you don't pay your student loan payments, even when you go for social security, they take the money out of social security?
Wow.
You know that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So if you just turned 62 and you say, that's it, I'm done, I'm retired, I'm going to social security and I'm gonna get my $1,762.10 a month, and they're gonna say, well, you still owe those student loans. And if your payment's $500 a month, they're gonna take that 500 right out of that, money right to begin with. So maybe work on getting that taken care of ahead of time before you get into those things. What else do we have? Is there anything else? No, student loan payments. Utilize the student loan counseling that we have. I mean, find out exactly what you owe and find out, a lot of teachers and so forth can go into some programs where they can pay for 10 years and after the 10 years of service, whatever the student loan is, they can get forgiven, right? There's a bunch of stuff out there, but don't be afraid to ask and make a phone call to the counselors and find out what's cooking. So, savings. The goal should be to increase this, as we talked about before, with 401k IRAs, with car loans. Anywhere that you're paying money, and once you get that money taken care of, the obligation taken care of, you should be able to take that money and immediately make that savings payment every month to yourselves to build that. Everybody have a fairly decent savings account? Anybody not have a savings account? Everybody's got something, right? Good, I want you to, I want you to do that. Some people don't. There's a lot of folks I go to and they're just making it every month and so forth, so it's very difficult. Estimated cost, target date, monthly savings, goals. I mean, I can't stress more than utilizing this expense tracker form. I can't turn around and say there's any magic formula that you're gonna use for budgeting, but I think the key is self-discipline and management. If you can manage your finances and self-discipline to get that done. My problem is I need to be on a diet. And the worst thing is like when I travel on the road by myself, I make mistakes. I raise my hand, I make mistakes. But if you have somebody there with you that says, why are you eating that third cheeseburger, or something like that? Or why are you spending that money on this? If you can do it as a team, if you can do it as a family unit, you'll find that the budgeting ends up, I think, a better result because people are doing it as a group effort to make things work. So again, but you gotta write these things down. If you don't write them down and you're not managing them and paying attention and seeing what those exact expenses are, it's not gonna work. Reduce your spending. I want you to make sure you have your savings account. Anybody gone shopping without their credit cards? Anybody gone to the mall without credit cards? Have you?
I don't have any credit.
You don't have any credit cards? Really? Why not?
Had a problem with credit, so it's all gone.
Okay.
It's actually very free. I don't buy anything unless I have money.
Wow, that's cool. Have you checked your credit score?
Oh, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah, because of past stuff. But
Okay.
right now,
But you wanna fix it, you might wanna get one
Yes.
credit card.
yeah,
And then just work on it and manage it every month and pay it back and forth. Not a large balance if you think that, it might be a little bit of a weakness. And if you do it, that's the quickest way to build up your credit.
that's what
Yeah, I mean, that's something you can talk to the councils about, but you wanna show that on your credit reports.
to have credit.
Don't get 5 credit cards. Just
No, no,
just
I
get
don't-
one,
I don't
manage
want it.
it.
Actually, I've had to live like this for a while and it's really great.
It's good, but if you decide you wanna make a big,
But if I, yes,
like
right
you wanna
now,
buy
okay.
something, like a car or a house or something
Yeah.
later on or
Right.
something, that could be a little bit of a problem unless you have a lot of money you can borrow or something like. But I'd try and get that, work on that, so you can get your
Yeah,
credit
that's why
back
I'm
up.
here, that's what I want.
Okay. Cool. Go shopping without credit cards, and you don't do it because you purposely don't have it. How many people have credit cards and actually leave them? How many people have clothes in their closet with price tags on them that they haven't worn?
I leave all of mine at home except like one.
Uh-huh.
Like I keep my debit card with me, but like the major credit cards, they're locked up at home.
Impulse buys are the worst for budgeting, because you just do it because you have the credit card. And if you go shopping and don't bring a credit card, this is great, because you find maybe a dress or an outfit that you really like at the mall. Oh my God, I love this, I gotta have it, but you don't have any money, you can't buy it. See? So you're in a quandary. So it's kind of talking to yourself for the next couple hours, you go home and you don't have it. And then you go to church on Sunday and you see 3 other women that have the exact same thing that you were gonna buy. You say, wait a minute. I don't know if I want
Stop
that,
and you
everybody
spend
else
a
has
dollar
that.
in your purse to buy the frosty to get yourself
Yeah.
out of depression.
And so why,
No, I would hold
There
it
you
and
go.
go back and get it the next day.
there you go.
You hold it for
So
24
if
hours.
Sunday goes by and you can still live with it, and then Monday, Tuesday goes by and you haven't bought it, if you really, really, really think you need it, then you go to the bank and take the cash out and buy it. But usually by Tuesday, you even forgot the color of it, you know what I mean? And say, okay, well, I'm just gonna do it. But there's a lot of people that have brand new stuff in the closet with tags on it that they haven't, that you can buy at yard sales for 20 cents on the dollar. So if you're one of those people, and I know you're not gonna raise your hands, but if you're one of those people, you really need to kind of pay attention to that stuff and get rid of the impulse buys. Impulse buys are the worst. Remember the weaknesses of the impulse buys, okay? So I think that that's what you've got to do. I think with your budget, you also need to go and use that budget all the time. Just because you do the budget 6 months ago, if you haven't been paying attention to it, you don't know if the budget is still working. You're doing it because you're monitoring every month, but you monitor every month and you know where the weaknesses are, what you can make work. So, let's see. You got to think long-term benefits. And if you can do that, you will work a budget well. So I can't hold your hand and say exactly what's important, because what's important to you may not be important to you as far as your priorities go. But the key is if you can justify and pay for it, then it's gonna work in your budget, you know, within reason. Let's see, savings, shop with a list. Don't go shopping, you're not supposed to go food shopping when you're hungry, you know that, right? Because you end up buying more stuff, you know, so. Do that, give yourself a raise if you get a tax refund. What do people do with tax refunds? Anybody put them in savings? You do? Anybody else? Anybody spend them?
I usually put a portion
A portion.
in and then a portion.
Big portion, little portion.
It depends, like if I need something bigger
Okay.
for the home, I
Okay.
might buy.
But you just don't splurge on something that,
Yeah,
Oh, I've done that
do
too.
you do? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've been paying.
Yeah.
That's
Bill.
Cruise.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that as long as you can make the numbers work. If you're coming in and saying, well, I can't make my budget work and I got my tax refund and I blew it on a trip to Bahamas for the weekend, it's not gonna work out. Okay, so we don't wanna do that. 401K, everybody using 401Ks here? Or your retirement with schools, everybody using that? You know, that's a good deal, right? When you put money in and somebody else gives you money on top of it and it's tax deductible, that's kind of a good benefit. So make sure that you do that stuff. Way to save, how about maybe your auto insurance deductible? The car is getting a little bit older, or, you know, you can get away with, take a look at the deductible. How many people reshop their auto insurance? I had State Farm for years. I thought I was getting this great deal. So all of a sudden, one day I woke up and said, I don't think I'm getting a good deal anymore. And I saw the agent I have with my house, and she turned around and put me through Progressive, saved me $80 every 6 months. Same coverages, everything. So it's not necessarily, my record didn't change, I didn't have anything different, but sometimes the insurance companies want to come into the market, and that worked out great for me. Those are things that we talked about. Anybody brown bag their lunch? I just saw, 2 people eat lunch today, 3, 4, 5? What do what did everybody else do for lunch? Everybody bring brown bag? Everybody bring brown bags every day? If you can, it's a good way to save, right? I mean, just a fantastic way to do it. And what else? I don't know, those are kind of basic stuff. But reassess periodically, enhancement plan, and finally, have a life. You need to have a life. Just because you do a budget does not mean you stop your life. A lot of people say, I'm just gonna do this budget, we can focus on this budget. Before you know it, you become grumpy, you become irritable, and it's not working. You're saving your money, but you're not a pleasant person to be around, so. I think budgeting has gotta have a balance in between. And again, if you need any help on budgeting and so forth, try the workbooks, try the expenditure sheets, and then get a hold of us through the credit counseling organization and let them do some stuff. So that takes care of that. Now we're gonna get into the fun one. And this one is a little bit out of the ordinary. That's okay? I'm sorry? Sure.
Just in case anybody doesn't know, Verizon and Sprint are there on our passport. Make sure that if you have those two, you contact them, because Sprint is giving you 20% off your bill, and Verizon is giving you $5 to $10 off.
I
your
think
bill as well.
AT&T is on also.
Yeah,
AT&T and
so if you haven't used them, use them.
Cool. Yeah, there are a lot of good benefits. Does the EAP have any other benefits for them? And travel benefits and things like that? Some of those offer different things.
They got the passport out there
Oh.
where it shows a lot of different options, even like home services, car services and stuff like that, where they'll give you air, stuff
Okay.
like that, salons and stuff like that.
I mean, don't be afraid to shop, really, you know? Debt elimination program. And now you can tell we're a true not-for-profit, because I'm in here trying to do this, tell you how to do this stuff on your own without having to use any services. But we put together, years back, a self-help debt elimination program that we tell everybody things that they can do. Not everybody can necessarily do it, but we think from an educational point of view, it's good that we expose everybody to things that happen. So, a self-help debt elimination program means that you are gonna get out of debt on your own. You are not gonna use a debt management plan like we have, you're not gonna do a bankruptcy, you're gonna be focused on every day managing your finances to get out of debt and stay out of debt on your own. You're doing it because you're saying, I'm not gonna do a credit card, just what I'm paying, I'm not gonna pay any interest, God bless you. If it works, keep it up. But what we wanna do is explain just a few things to folks. So, before you decide you're gonna do a debt elimination plan like we're talking about, you can have income. You can have a job, you can have money coming in. So for people that wanna do it but aren't making any money, it's great because it's a pipe dream, but it's never gonna come true because you're gonna have money to make this thing work. You're gonna have honesty and self-discipline, control of your spending and modification of your current spending habits. And that's a big sentence right there, because that is very, very difficult to do. And we've got to understand the basic concept of interest. So let's talk about interest. Anybody know about the 72 rule? 72 rule says you can use it to figure out debt, interest that's going to be paid on debt or investment over a period of time. So for example, remember the old days when we used to do the gazintas? Remember we used to have the big thing here, put 72 in the middle, we put our number outside, we do our division, right? I call it gazintas. So 6% interest rate. At 6% interest rate, your investment takes 72, or 72 divided by 6, 12 years to double in value. So when someone says, I'm gonna give you an interest rate and it's gonna double in what does that say? That's gonna double in 12 years, you're gonna be getting 6% every year for 12 years. If it isn't, they're lying to you, okay? So real simple. When you wanna figure out what's gonna be, you take the number 72, you divide it by the interest rate, and that's the amount of years it's gonna take to double in value. So if it's an investment, if you put in 10 grand, you keep it in a 6% interest rate every year for 12 years, it's gonna double to 20,000, okay? It's whatever it is, it's gonna double. On the same token, it also works for debt. So watch this. If you pay 18% on your credit card, bless you, the amount owed will double in 72 divided by 18, right? We use the 72 rule. Take 72 divided by 18 in 4 years. So the average consumer in the United States has an $8,000 credit card debt at 18%. If all they're doing is making minimum payments, what we're saying is in 4 years, the 8,000 is gonna go to 16. In 4 more years, the 16 is gonna go to 32. See, you're cringing, good answer. She knows that. Interest. It can be your best friend or it can be your biggest enemy. If you're getting an investment, it can be your best friend,
Yeah.
okay?
It's what kills you.
If you're looking at debt, it will kill you, okay? Lisa and I looked at, we were in Bankrate, and just looking at the difference between a 3.5% mortgage on a home or 6%, and you take a look at the end of the accrual, how much you paid on interest, it's phenomenal. And the thing is, credit card companies want to keep you very comfortable. Just make the minimum payment. You don't have to pay this month, it's okay. We're gonna give you a little celebration. You don't have to pay this month. And they do it during the holidays when the interest rates go up. I mean, the amount of debt you have on the interest goes up, okay? So knowing this, the key is not to pay interest on debt, but to seek the highest interest on investments. If you can do that, your name is Donald Trump. Real simple. He likes to get a lot of interest on his investments or money he's charging people, but when it comes to paying it, he wants to get federal subsidies and tax benefits at 0, 0, 0, so it doesn't cost him anything. So the 72 rule is the best way to figure this out. So if you're paying like 29% or 25% on a credit card, I mean, it doesn't take long for the amount of debt to double just on interest. And that's assuming you don't charge on a credit card for these 4 years, okay? In 4 years, it's gonna double, and that's assuming you don't charge anything else for the next 4 years. Well, we all know that's not gonna happen, so it compounds, okay? So knowing that, that's important. A typical credit card purchase ends up costing 112% more than if cash were used. That's why once you go to the mall with no credit card, or if you're gonna go to the mall to go shopping, you use just cash and say, this is all I've got, and no, I don't want that credit card from Macy's, I don't, I'm just gonna use this. The average household pays over $1,000 or $83 a month on credit card interest each year. Okay, $90 a month, it just goes out the window. So not only do you spend more with a credit card purchase, you pay a higher price when interest is added to the cost. So when you start to do some of these calculations and someone buys a pair of pants or a pizza and they put it in a credit card and they just pay the minimums at 18 or 22 or 29%, then after 4 years, they pay twice as much for that pair of pants and they're still wearing the same old pair of pants, but they're still paying for it. You know what I'm saying? Interest just keeps on growing and growing. It's really important that you pay attention to it. So, what are we gonna do? Evaluate your financial situation. I think we just did this a little while ago, right? We wanna sit back, figure out where we're at. Also, why are you in a situation that you have a lot of debt? PGT Industries, have you ever heard of them? Seen their ad on TV? They're the ones that make those hurricane glass windows, PGT. And they're a producer in Venice, Florida. And in 2004, they wanted me to come over and talk to the employees about retirement, so because the hurricanes had just come through, and they were rebuilding windows by the gazillions. People were working 3 shifts, making all kinds of money, and they wanted me to talk to everybody there about just putting your money in a retirement plan or a savings plan or pension. One person showed up. I couldn't get anybody. Why? Because they were busy working on the floor and doing their extra shift and getting their overtime money and this and that and the other thing. Then they brought me back in 2009. And they wanted me to do a session on them on the disadvantage of taking money out of your retirement account. And the room was full. Because everybody was making all this money, because they were counting on overtime, they were counting on all this extra money, which doesn't happen all the time, and they were buying extra things. They were buying a second car, they were buying a second home, they were buying all this crazy stuff. And then by 2009, no more hurricanes had come through Florida, and guess what? Now they're starting to cut back the hours, no more third shift, no more overtime, no more this. Now people are saying, okay, I got these 2 homes I gotta pay for, how am I gonna pay for that mortgage, because I used my overtime to pay that mortgage? How am I gonna make that second car payment? So you have to understand what got you in that quandary to begin with, and all of these can be, whether it's a divorce, savings, overtime was eliminated, all those things can take a toll. So you need to figure out what got you there and how you can address them. Okay, you gotta keep track of your expenditures. Perfect for that sheet that we put together for you with that daily, weekly expense tracker form and so forth. And you'll find you're gonna be stressed because due dates are coming and you don't have enough money, so you must write things down. You can't go here because the mind, as we get older, and I can justify that, plays tricks on you and we don't quite remember everything it is. So, how much money do you make? Write down your net income. Remember we talked about that during the last session? How much do you need to pay your bills? And this will help you put a list together. I got a car payment, I got a mortgage payment, I got insurance payment, I got this. You've got to write down the gazintas and the gazatas and all the money to figure out what you have. You can actually use that budget form, okay? That's going to be on those back of those computers to come up with those numbers, okay? Be resourceful. Now let me ask you a question. How many people like the session so far? You do. Can I borrow $10?
No.
What happened? A little love?
It's out of the budget.
Not in the budget. Good answer. Okay. See how? See? Will anybody give me $10? Lisa, give me $10.
50% interest.
That was a good answer.
Normally, I always get one person that feels bad for me to give me $10, and that's the person I pick on. But what I'm saying by that is, if you have $10 to loan me, and that's usually when you loan money, you never get it back, right? So you're prepared to throw away $10. So that means that every week you're prepared to give away $10. from some poor soul like me, oh, please, I'm starving, give me something. Okay, here's $10. I get $10 from you, and $10 from you, $10 from you. So, right off the bat, if you're prepared to give the $10, then you're probably gonna do it every week. And that's what we're gonna call smart money. Money that you're just gonna throw away. Money that you just kind of don't keep track of. Money that you don't pay attention. So, what we need to do is we want you to be resourceful. We want you to say, I want you to say, look, everybody today next week is gonna bring in a brown bag. No one's going out, no one's going to Starbucks, no one's going to Dunkin' Donuts, everything's gonna come from the house, you can buy group things and save money. And how much are you gonna save me? You're gonna save me $20, you're gonna save me $10, you're gonna, whatever. If you can do that, we're gonna call that smart money. Might be $1 a day. 7 days a week, $7. $28 a month. Okay? Smart money, just something that you know in your hearts that if I look into your eyes, you'll be able to say, I can find you $3 a day. I can find you $2 a day. I can find something, but I know you can. So once you do that, once you go through the thought process and the realization and beat yourself up and say, yeah, I guess I can't come up with something, we're gonna call that smart money. And what we're gonna do is we're going to figure out what we're gonna do with that money in order to get us out of debt. Okay, that's what's important. So, what we want you to do for a debt elimination plan is before you do anything is to have money in a savings account. If you're single, I want you to have $500. If you're married, I want you to have $1,000. And the reason I want you to do that is because I don't ever want to see you going for the credit card for help. If you've got $500 and you're single and something happens to the car, you need $50, you go in a savings account, you get $50 and you go pay it. You don't put in a credit card at 18%, at 29%, and in 4 years it doubles and this and that. The key is we're trying to get out of the credit card debt, okay? So you put your savings plan together. Once you have that, then we're gonna try and find the money. Well, you told me that you were gonna loan me $10. Well, if you're gonna loan me $10, that means you're gonna give $10 away to somebody every week. So 1 week is $40 a month. There's $40 in smart money. Maybe it's not $40, maybe it's $35, maybe it's $30. But this is the smart money that we found, whether we're borrowing it from somebody because we were just gonna give it to them anyway, or something we saved on our lunch, or something we saved on our breakfast, or something we saved on our coffee, or a break or something. We come up with $2 a day, that's $14 a week. Times 4 weeks, do the math. How much money you can put together? That's gonna be your smart money. Create a debt list. Now when I say a debt list, what I want you to do is I want you to put a list together of your credit cards. And I want you to put down the smallest balance first. Okay? So if you have credit card number 1, it's $500 at 18%, you write that down. Credit card number 2 is $1,500 at X percent, and credit card number 3 is $5,000. You start from the lowest credit card balance, and then you list them. Credit card 1, credit card 2, credit card 3, and then you put down your car payment, and you put down your mortgage. And let me tell you why. Remember I told you I had that problem a little while ago about my diet? Look at it this way. I want to lose weight. If I say I want to lose 5 pounds, and I drop 2, I'm almost halfway there. Psychologically, I feel good. I'm there. I'm on a roll. I can keep on going. Get down to 5. If I say I want to dump 50, and I get rid of 1 pound, it's like, well, that was, I was going to eat that chocolate again. Not going to make any difference. Psychologically is what we're trying to get into your mindset on a debt elimination program. Debt elimination programs work when you start to see results. In my case, if it's a diet, I can lose 30% of my weight in a weekend, all of a sudden I feel pretty good and maybe I'll keep on going. But if I can only lose 1/50 of my weight, I might just say I give up. I'm not gonna change, you know, and so forth. So what we're going to do, and it says see chart, we're going to do that and come back to it, but all I want you to do on your credit cards is I want you to pay only the minimums, except for credit card number 1. Credit card number 1, what I want you to do is take credit card number 1, add to it your smart money, and add to it the extra money you're going to pay on the other credit cards. So let's skip ahead here a little bit. Let's see, let's go back on this one, can't. Previous. credit card number one, and we'll get to the, we'll skip ahead to the charts in just a second. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pay the minimum payments on all the credit cards except credit card number one. So if you were paying extra on credit card number two, extra on credit card number three, extra and so forth, you're just gonna pay the minimums on those. The extra money you were paying on those, you're going to apply to credit card number one with the smart money that you found, okay? Once we do that, what we're trying to do, like for example here, if the lower, if you were able to find an extra $10 a week, smart money, this would translate into another $40 a month applied to credit card number one. When credit card one is paid off, apply all those funds to credit card two. When credit card two is paid off, the money you'd have been using go to credit card number three, and so on, okay? And what we're saying is here, ultimately, when the cards are paid off, you can apply all the money that you have paid out to your car payment. And if you do not have a car payment, you can apply these to your home mortgage. When your debt is paid off, you can take all of your newfound money and deposit them in a high-interest bank account or an IRA or stock market, or maybe even buy Jason a gift, okay? So now let's take a look at our models up here. Look at this. Here's our chart. See what we put together? All of our debt, I don't want to jump in front of anybody here. All of our debt, here we go. Credit card number one, it's got a $300 balance at 18%. Minimum payments, $10. If that's all that you made in real life, it would take you 41 months to pay it back, so your total payments would be $401, and your cost of interest would be $101. You see it? Credit card number two, and so forth. So this is a chart, the initial chart that we put together. Now let's go to the next chart. If all we added was $10 more to our minimum payment on credit card number one, our payments are now $20 instead of the 10, right? Remember? So now, instead of paying off, we're going to be paying only this total amount of payments, we only paid $342 versus $101. And you paid it off sooner, just by adding $10 more to the minimum payment on that credit card, okay? So, here we go. What if we used some of the extra money that we found? Let's say we added the extra money in smart money as well as that $10 a month that we're gonna do, so our minimum payment is now only $70. Look what happens. So instead, again, we're still making the minimum payments here, but instead we took our smart money and then the extra money that we found, we applied it to here. In 5 months you paid, your cost of interest is only $12. So you just saved yourself close to $100 in interest just on that first credit card, and you're paid off in 5 months. So what do we do now? Well, if we know that we can make this payment, then in 5 months when this is paid off, we turn around and take this and add it to this. And we keep disciplining ourselves to do it. Once credit card two is paid off, you'll take that $140 and add it to the $117.50 here on credit card number three, and credit card three will be $257 and so on until you're attacking the mortgage. I'm not concerned about interest rates. Some people say, well, you need to do the interest rate first. Well, if you owe $30,000, it's not going to feel good because you really haven't made any debts. So I prefer to see you do it with the smallest amount of debt first, so you can sit back and say, hey, I'm out of debt in 5 months. When you're done with the credit card payment, you say, you can probably budget, I'm done, I feel good, I feel relieved, it's done. Now I'm ready to go to my next credit card. Why it works. Using your money wisely to reduce your debt. We choose the smallest debt because mentally you feel better when you see immediate results. When you pay off your first card, you should feel great, you have accomplished a goal. This is not a reason to celebrate and start charging on card number one, everybody. It's a reason to sit back and say, you know, I'm done, I feel good about it, and you can put that away in a drawer. We know that emergencies are going to arise and you're going to be in a program. That's why you had the $500 in your savings account.
Thank you, sorry, Jason,
See
you
ya.
gotta go.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Very good.
See you. Take care. So, how does it work? We went pretty much how to do this. You got to come up with a budget. You got to stabilize a bank account. You got to find your smart money. Then you got to put your chart together that we talked to with your credit cards and your payments. Quick calculations. Credit card with a $10,000 balance at 25%, minimum payments $388 a month. Watch this. Your total payoff is going to be 20 grand in interest in 156 months. If all you add is $40 a month, okay, your new payment is that, and you save $14,000 on your credit card. 30-year mortgages, anybody paying extra on their home mortgages? It's great if you can pay extra every month towards your principal, your mortgage. $165,000 mortgage, 30 years or 7%, that's your monthly payment. The total interest would charge you 170 grand on that house. If you take this exact same mortgage, don't refinance. Just add $100 a month. Your new payment is this, you'll be paid off 80 months sooner, and you would have saved this much in interest.
When they say you should try and put a little bit more, as far as a payment a year, is it the principal you're paying
Yes,
that
you
year?
know, yes,
Or are you
always
including the
principal.
interest? Just, so.
When you get your little
Yeah.
charts in the bank, it says, if you like an extra payment, apply towards
Principal.
principal.
Okay.
Will this information be on your website or anything, or, no?
It might be up there somewhere. Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff would be up there. But the key is we're looking at is interest, you know?
I mean, the whole presentation.
The whole
like
PowerPoint,
for-
that PowerPoint won't be up there.
the PowerPoint.
But this will be posted on the district's website, this presentation.
This presentation will be, okay, where will it be at?
That's if I approve how I look.
Yeah.
I look good and I.
We're not gonna be in it, are we?
No.
Same thing with your car payments, okay? Bankrate.com, if you just wanna write that down, that is a great place to go do your calculators and figure out your mortgage calculators, your interest calculators on your car loans, on your credit cards and so forth. Anybody gone here before?
Yes.
Missingmoney.com, anybody? Missing money, I found money.
I did too.
Yeah, it's kinda cool.
I still
Missingmoney.com,
haven't
we're
sent
talking about
it.
great websites to go to, write it down, missingmoney.com. You can type it in. That is locked into all the treasurers of all the states within the country. And you know, like sometimes you'll see that the state of Florida has this, you know, missing money, that they found all this money, they don't know what to do with it because the people didn't forward it, their addresses and so forth. You can go on there for free and type in your name of where you live and where you used to live. A lot of people find a lot of money that way. And that's it. But the key is, I know y'all gonna run, just try and be honest with yourselves when any of this stuff, if you can do that and manage that money, it'll work out just fine for you. If you need help, please call us, we're here for free.
All right, great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.